Hi all, this is going to be a video on fitting a steering system and a steering kit to this. It's a 10-foot Dory. I'm also going to be putting a center console seat in a separate video. I've ordered the steering kit as such and it's come, and I've tried to fit it and it fits very beautifully through the hole, and then you bolt the cable that end. But we have a slight problem because my Transom is quite small, and I've strengthened it because this is a 15 horsepower Mercury. The wood I've put on there is quite thick, and I don't really want to go any thinner than that because it's quite a powerful engine for the size of the boat. It just gets it on the plane. I think the boat will handle a 25, so I don't really want to replace the wood. And the trouble is as well, it fits so snug that when the steering piston comes out this side, it's actually hitting, and I think someone's done this before, because over here there's original 4 holes. Now I think I know what they're for. You can actually buy a kit that supports the steering mechanism here, and I'll show you. I've ordered the kit, so I'll be fitting that here, and then it'll come along here with a piston, and you'll understand more when I get the kit and start putting it together. And this will be a separate steering system for this Mercury, because the center console seat's going to go in the middle, and the idea is when I'm on my own I can sit forward of the boat, have a steering wheel, and then she'll plane. That's basically it. So I've got the cable, the steering wheel, which is a Teleflex one, and I will let you know how I get on and how I progress and how I fit everything, because I've looked on the YouTube and there's bits, but it's very sporadic. So I want to do a complete video of fitting a system to an outboard, especially 15 horsepower, not using this way. We'll have to use the conventional sort of, and you'll see, I'll explain all. Okay, video update. I've took the wood off because I've ordered the part which I was going to do and show you to hold this cable with a sleeve that goes over there, instead of putting it through the engine, like I was going to do. But I found out now that on the transom at the back here, the area between there and there is too small. It's not going to fit, so I've got to use the conventional way, which is through the engine holes itself. So what I've done is got a nice sheet of metal cut for me today with my mate at work, and we're going to replace that, so I'll be fitting that today. And I'll fit it now, and I'll give out, it's just going to be a couple of bolts and whatnot. I can't hold the camera at the same time, so I'll show you when it's fitting what I've done. Okay, I've drilled the pilot holes for the metal plate. So what you have to do is, well, I've marked that there, can you see that? Come on. Yeah, well, that's the drain hole for the transom at the back here. Okay, so don't forget to put that in as well, and I'll show you it fitted. Okay, so I G-clamped it back on again, drilled the main holes when they're not lined up yet, but they will be in a minute. And then also, if you can see that, so that's the well draining hole from just on the inside. Slight modifications to the front, block of wood, because there was too much space between the clamps and the transom. So I've had to put a bit more blockage in there, and I'm going to bolt that through as well. Okay, so I've cut the plate down because it was a little too long. It was coming down here and that was ridiculous. So I went back, cut the plate down, measured it, lined it all back up again. You'll see 2 extra stainless steel bolts going through, as well as the 2 anchor points I've put on. That's because I put an extra piece of wood this side, and then the bolts are going through, and this is now as solid as a rock. This is the steering that we paid for, that came through, and just to show you, this is the box here. And this was a little bit confusing, so I'm going to just run through this very quickly with you. When this came, this is the excess cable that, when it's travelled around the gearbox, comes out there and then goes back around again. So that's just a tube that fits in. Now in the diagrams and all the stuff I've been reading and whatnot, if you can see that, this looks like there's 2 bolts, and there's a bolt that holds this casing in, and the same sat that side, which is the main one. It's not, it's changed. Let me just show you quickly, okay? Right, so inside here now, let's focus that on properly. So inside this compartment here, this bit here you see here, is actually, how can I put it? It's spring-loaded cup with a beveled edge on it, and this, on the end of this, has got a beveled edge as well. So when you push it in, you have to push past this. Hold on. Noisy buggers. So you have to push this as far as it'll go in, and it's quite difficult till you put the steering wheel on. Once you put the steering wheel on and give it a quick turn, it drags this shaft in and then locks into place here. And what these pins do then, they push down and lock over the top and keep this in place, same as the bottom one. Because I was looking for the bolts, I'm thinking they've sent me the wrong cable or they sent me the wrong gearbox, but no, they work exceptionally well, as you can see. Okay, so yeah, this is a great bit of kit, so I'm eventually getting there. So I'll show you a bit later on how I'm getting on with the engine and connecting this to the engine. Okay, I'm going to try and fit the steering to the engine without knocking you over. Right. Now, I've got to come below it. It is quite tight. Very tight actually. Oh, bloody Dory. This is how tight it's got. For the simple reason things just don't fit. It's been so awkward, this, as I tell you. This is not the easiest of engines I've done. I've got to lift the engine up like this. If you can do without knocking you over. Sorry, let me bring you forward a bit. Let me just check. Okay. Right. Because this is a really awkward. That's it. Superb. Well, the modifications I've had to make so far just to get this to fit, because my transom is so small at the back here. It's like it's only a 9-foot Dory. Okay, so you got to tighten that up. Whilst holding the other end, which is a tricky one. This is where it gets a bit awkward. Okay, so I've got to tighten this one up to take the slack of that up, because we had a washer on that one, a big washer, if I can show you that, which is huge, and well, not a washer, a nut, a plastic nut actually. So I'll carry on tightening this, you don't want to see all this, and then the next job is connect the actual shaft to the engine. So, tighten that a bit more. Now that fuck me, that should be all the way over there. To measure that. It stops there, doesn't it? Yeah. So if you measure that's 200, say, so it's 100. So if you mark it there, that's 200. That's 200 right. So mark it just there. Well, that is where you should now be in the middle. If you put a small plate on that, okay, after a few hours of fiddling about, which you probably didn't want to see, I've actually I've actually made this bracket out of aluminium temporarily. I needed a template that I could work with and drill holes in, which I knew would be easy to drill and assemble. So I've sussed out that this bit here, I'll do the measurements and I'll leave a description in below when I finished it. I'm going to make this out of hardened steel, which will be a lot stronger. It's fixed, it's all in properly. I'll show you it working. Give me a second, there we go. Okay, so there's the steering wheel, and here we go. And you'll see I've got to put a locking nut on the bottom, which you can see already, but I've not tightened it up yet, because you'll see it's starting to move down the shaft a little bit, because the clearance just underneath the tiller arm, can you see that? So I'll leave it like that. Perfect. And then you'll see I'll return, like so, and then you'll notice here I'll put a stop. Okay. That is because what happens, I don't know why, I don't know whether I've got the wrong one or what, but inside there, that is a grease seal, and then what happens is the shaft comes so far out that it drops slightly. It could be the fact that my inner bearing shaft here it's a bit weird. It's a bit, because I must admit that when I had to take the nut off, and normally on outboards and whatnot you leave the big nut on the end and that fits on as well. I don't know. Anyway, so I couldn't send the part back, so after all this kerfuffle I've ended up getting it working, and it seems to be doing fine. There's a bit of a play there, that's fine, that's no problem, as you can see, and it does go virtually full lock, you can see that. Okay, down below. So chuffed. I'm going to tighten everything up. I'll make a new bracket. I'll put the locking nuts on that there. So we've got locking one there. I've got one at the top, which then bolts the bracket, stops it from wobbling about, and then that'll just give it play up and down. Okay, so if this helps somebody, great. Like I say, I'll put the dimensions for the T-bar that I've made, the actual bracket. But it's been a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next vid. All the best.